Okay, sorry. Okay, and now the bell ringers are going to play.
And take those back.
That was really very special. Thank you, everybody, for doing your part. Next, we have something really special. And it's going to be performed by Miss Page's class. It has to do with kindness. And I'm going to let Miss Basil explain it, because the boys and girls did this in her health class, and it was given as a surprise to their teacher, Miss Page. And it was a wonderful surprise. So,
thank you, Mrs. Silva. Good morning, boys and girls. Now, here's what happened. One week in November, I wasn't here at school with all you Eagles. And Mrs. Ryder helped my class out. She came up with a really neat idea for my class. She asked them if they could draw a picture or write a story about what they had already learned in all their health classes in September and October and November. Well, they drew their pictures and they wrote their stories, but that wasn't good enough for Mrs. Page's class. They thought, if we put them all together, we could make a book. I said, let's do that. So we put them all together and made a book, and then they said, that's not enough. We need a cover. So we had to have a competition. So everybody drew a cover, and then they picked the best cover, and then we had a cover. But that wasn't enough. They asked if they could take that book and bring it to the library, and they talked to Mrs. Glazier and said, can we put this in the library for all the kids in Elmwood to see? Because they were very proud of it, you see. And they showed it to Mr. G, and they showed it to Mrs. Silver, and they got so excited that on a rainy day, the girls sat in an indoor recess and made posters. They put them in all the teachers' mailboxes, except Mrs. Page's, because it was a secret. But every teacher knew, and it was in the library, but Miss Page knew nothing about this secret. Well, the book was in the library, and then they got another idea. Putting a book together wasn't enough. They wanted to make a podcast. So we went and got Mrs. DeLotte, and we asked Mrs. DeLotte if she could help us. And every boy and girl in the room was podcasted, and they told a story about their story and what they wrote about, and they explained their pictures. But that wasn't enough. All the boys and girls said, this is so cool. Let's make this book a gift to our teacher for the holidays. So they called it the Book of Kindness, and they gave it to Miss Page, who was very, very happy. But that wasn't enough. The students talked to each other at home, they got on the phone, they emailed each other, they got together and wrote a rap. They wrote a rap. But that wasn't enough. They wrote the rap, and then they wanted to do a little dance for the rap, then they wanted costumes for the rap, and then do it at the meeting of the Eagles? So they practiced and they practiced and they practiced. But guess what? That wasn't enough. They went back to Mrs. DeLotte, and after they put the kindness song together, the rap with all the movements, they sang it, and Mrs. DeLotte recorded it. And you can hear that special song on the podcast if you go to the Elmwood main page. And you can see all the pictures in the kindness book and all the stories they wrote in the kindness book. And then the children said, can we sing it at the meeting of the Eagles? And if we're really, really good, we could have all the words put up on the wall so everyone can see it. And then all the Elmwood Eagles can try to rap with all of us. So, if we're really good listeners, and if they do a really good job, you'll get a chance to do the kindness rap. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children